Hello everyone, welcome to our vlog. In this vlog, let's take you to the Queen of Hills, Shimla. Shimla, as you all know, is an important hill station in the northern part of the country, and we recently went there for a road trip for 5 days. So we thought, why not bring a complete guide for you, which would help you plan your trip and provide you all the necessary information that you need before you start thinking of going to Shimla. Shimla is a small city, hill town in the northern part of the country. It is capital of Himachal Pradesh with about 35 square kilometers of an area and about 2 lakh of population. It is not big in terms of size, but it is pretty important town because of its location and because of all the weather related benefits it offers. It was the summer capital of British India. So when Britishers actually came to India and established Delhi as their capital, they realized one major issue, which was the heat. So the summers in plains are pretty scorching with loos and everything. So they started looking for alternatives, especially when Lord Curzon were the Viceroy of India. He started looking for alternatives of where could they shift during summers, and Shimla was around that time won by Britishers during the Gurkha War. So they decided to make Shimla as the summer capital for at least the British India. So Shimla was nearer to Delhi, so it was logistically relatively easier to shift there for some time. Weather was obviously moderate, so it helped because of the altitude. The major issue regarding access and transportation was later resolved when toy train was introduced. So Shimla finally ended up being the summer capital, and to still today, I mean, to a large extent, it's considered summer capital in. That's about Shimla in brief. But if you start planning your trip, the first thing that you would want to think of is how to reach Shimla. Shimla is pretty well connected with the rest of the country because of the tourist interest. So it in fact even has its own airport. Now, flight services are not enough for it to be used to that extent, but if you decide, you can obviously plan accordingly. But unless you're flying directly to Shimla, your trip would predominantly involve two legs. One is reaching Kalka or Chandigarh, and then another is from those two cities to Shimla. So Kalka and Chandigarh both are pretty well connected by both road and rail network. So there are enough number of trains, including some of the premium ones, which connect these two cities to the rest of the country. There are plenty of bus services applying to these cities from outside, so you can opt for one of those. We were on a road trip, and if you're planning to drive yourself, the road infrastructure is very good. There are expressways linking Chandigarh to the other northern cities, so you will be up for a very good experience if you're driving yourself. There are enough places to eat and stop by on the way, so you're going to have a good time if you're driving down to to Chandigarh or Kalka. If you're looking for flight options, then Chandigarh has a major airport which is well connected with enough flight services from across the country, so you can use that as well. For the next leg of the journey, most of the tourists would end up using road transport. So it's about 2.5 hour journey if you drive straight from Kalka or Chandigarh to Shimla. A pretty scenic drive, so you're bound to enjoy all the views of the valleys and the hills. But there's another option for you to travel from Kalka to Shimla. This is much more romantic, much more glamorous, much more scenic, which is the Kalka Shimla Heritage Toy Train. If you've not heard, it's the narrow gauge toy train which is Britishers' gift to us, and it takes you through a scenic route at a slow pace. So it's fun way to travel to Shimla, and we would recommend you at least taking one of the rides either towards Shimla or from Shimla. If you're looking to book tickets for this toy train, they are available on the IRCTC's portal. We'll provide the link in the description. They open up around 3 months in advance, and at least for the busy season, gets sold out pretty quickly. So you may want to book them in advance. Even if you don't get them and you are waitlisted, there is enough cancellations that generally happen 2 or 3 days before the departure, so you may still want to wait and keep your tickets rather than canceling them. Now, another thing is how to navigate within Shimla. So one obvious way is the taxis or the tourist cabs that you can book for the entire day, and they'll take you through a day tour or through all the places of interest in Shimla. Another option is using Uber, which is available in Shimla. And now frequencies and wait times are not ideal, but still, if you want to manage that way, it's pretty okay to do that. We tried using Uber for a couple of commutes, and wait times weren't crazy bad or anything. Another big question is where to stay in Shimla, what kind of accommodations are available. So, if you broadly classify them, we could classify them in three major categories. One are economical homestays or bed and breakfast, which are about 600 to 1200 rupees per night. These are pretty basic accommodations, probably a shared room or at least shared facilities for sure. So if someone is a solo traveler or is looking to travel on a budget, these are options which they could look at. Then on the other end of the spectrum are luxury resorts like Taj and Club Mahindras and Sterlings, which are relatively outside the towns but pretty luxurious, providing all the facilities that you would need. The only drawback is since they are outside the town, other things within the town aren't as accessible, so you'll need a vehicle at your disposal if you want to go to Mall Road at non-scheduled times or anything. And in between these two ranges, we've got all your general hotels with most of the tourists would pick up. These would start somewhere around 3 to 4 thousand per night and could go to around 15,000 per night depending on location that you're choosing and kind of facilities that you're looking for in your hotel. If you're looking for hotels, we'd say probably look for one on the Mall Road because that's where most of the action is. You'll be surrounded by a number of tourist sites which you can just walk down. Then the only drawback again is that Mall Road is a pedestrian road and vehicles are not allowed there at any time of the day. So you'll probably be dropped at the High Court or below the lift. You can take the lift to the Mall Road, but again you'll have to tug your luggage to some distance until your hotel. If your hotel is one of the better ones, you can talk to them and they would generally arrange for a porter to help you with luggage. But that is between you and the hotels. Otherwise, generally porters are not easily available in rest of the places. So this was about accommodation. Shimla would provide accommodation for every taste, every budget, every priority. So you can choose based on what you're looking for from your holiday. If you want the touristy kind of holiday, we'll recommend taking a Mall Road hotel. If you're looking for some peaceful, calm, serene surroundings, then maybe you look for a resort that would be an ideal in that situation. You would think of is when to visit Shimla, right? What's the best time to visit Shimla like for any other destination? Are there specific months one could recommend? In our opinion, there is no good time to visit Shimla and there is no bad time. You can visit this destination at any time of the year and you will have a good time. If you are visiting in summers, which is obviously the summer capital of India, so you'll save yourself from the scorching heat of the plains for some time and then have some moderate temperatures, cooler breezes out here. Winters has a very different charm out here with snowfalls and the white layer all around, so you'll obviously enjoy that mystic charm. Monsoons, while not a busy season, but we would say if you are coming here not from a touristic purpose because your excursions will be limited, but the entire freshness of fresh rains that gives shine to the leaves, the slopes of the hills is a different experience as well, and club that with good discounts that you can have because not a lot of people would come here. It could also end up being a very great experience, so you can think about that as well. Now comes an ideal itinerary. There's obviously nothing like an ideal itinerary, but we'll recommend one which could work for you. We spent 5 days on this trip because we were doing a road trip and we don't like to drive more than 5 to 6 hours. So we spent one day just driving to Chandigarh and another day just coming back from Kalka. But in general, let's assume we start your itinerary from Kalka or Chandigarh. It should be at least 3 days, and 4 days may be good enough. So 3 to 4 days is what we are thinking of. Your day one would start from Kalka or Chandigarh and you'll go to Shimla. Now we would recommend you take the early morning toy train to Shimla, which would take you through scenic panoramic views at a slow pace with its own romance and charm. You'll be in Shimla by afternoon, so we'll say you'll go to your hotel, check in, and then relax a bit, and then late afternoon venture out, go to the mall road because that's where most of the action is, and you'd at least want to cover that on your trip, right? So go to mall road. We'll say the first thing that you can do is visit the Jhakhu Temple, which is a prominent temple of Lord Hanuman. It has a 108 feet statue of Hanumanji, and you would want to be mesmerized with that aura. While it is important spiritually, it is also important from a scenic point of view. You can take an awesome cable car ride up to the hill. While there is a hike to the cable car station itself, so since you're fresh after your relaxation, it may be the ideal time. Go spend some time. Be careful of those monkeys out there because sometimes they get a bit aggressive, so you may want to hide out any eatables that you're carrying with yourselves. But it is definitely a must do thing if you're visiting Shimla. You can also take a car or a taxi directly to Jhakhu Temple because there is road connectivity, but we recommend taking that cable car for obvious reasons. Once you're back, probably it's almost late evening. You may want to go stroll on the mall road, probably window shop a bit, enjoy the hectic activities. You can also go to the ridge, which also has the cathedral. So you could visit the cathedral or just enjoy and relax on the ridge with all the activities going around. You can snack there. You can do a horse ride if you've got kids. You can take pictures in dresses. There's an old building which is now the mayor's office, which is pretty scenic when it's lit up in night and everything. So you can do all of those activities and then have an easy evening out. Probably have your dinner somewhere on the mall road. There are a couple of good options out there. We would definitely recommend trying the Cafe Shimla Times, which is named on the first newspaper of Shimla. It has pretty good ambience, pretty good scenery outside. It serves continental food, so pretty good overall. That would be end of your day one. On day two, I would recommend you will start with some sightseeing. So two of the most prominent places that we would recommend you to go is the Viceroy Lodge or the Institute of Advanced Sciences that it's now called. It's an old residence of British Viceroy, so Viceroy Lodge is how it's called. But now it's been given for studies and advanced research happens here. The building is still the same from the British era. Most of the equipment and machinery is still the same. They've got fire system that still works from the British time. We didn't have fire systems at that time, so it was imported. There's a pendulum clock. India did not have those pendulum clocks, so that was imported. There are glass chandeliers from Belgium and a number of other such things which are pretty mesmerizing to know. There are guided tours that happen every hour for most of the day, and these are like 20-25 minute tours which takes you through the history of that building and gives you some glimpses of how those things are functional. So it's pretty good tour to take. Next thing that we would recommend is going to the Army Museum. Again, a pretty decent facility maintained by Army. It takes you through the history of military actions in this area. Talks about the bravery of all the soldiers. There are some VR games and interesting stuff and activities as well for you. So you'll spend a good first half of your day doing these two things. Then take a lunch, and then we'll say probably go to Mashobra if you're interested in apple orchards and those aspects. There's also a Rashtrapati Niwas in Mashobra. So the President of India has properties in Delhi, obviously, as part of his or her jurisdiction, but there are two additional properties that presidential estate has. One is in Hyderabad, another is Rashtrapati Niwas in Shimla. So traditionally, presidents of India have always come down for at least a couple of days every summer and spend time here in Rashtrapati Niwas. It's not in very opulent like Rashtrapati Bhavan in Delhi, but there is enough to interest you and provide to all the facilities that a president would need, including security and a helipad. So, if you want to go to a tour, someone like us, we'll go back to the mall road, spend some time picking gifts for family or taking another stroll amidst all the action, and this would end your day two. Now if you only have 3 days at your disposal, then your third day would be your last day, and you'll drive back to Kalka or Chandigarh based on your itinerary. But on the way, we would recommend going to the Tara Devi temple, again a very renowned temple, very beautifully wooden carved temple, so you would want to go there. Very scenic views around, so you'll definitely enjoy a quick visit. It's on the route, so you don't have to take a large detour as well. So pretty good place to cover. If you did not do the toy train while coming up, you'll take the toy train down, so you can cover Tara Devi temple on the your day one when you're coming to Shimla. But that way by afternoon you will be in Kalka. We would say probably spend some time going to the Yadvendra temples and Pinjar. If you're going to Chandigarh, it would still be on your way, so you can cover it. Otherwise, it's stone throws distance from Kalka, so you can quickly go and then come back. And then take your train back to whichever city you belong to. If you've got an additional day in between, we'll say take a day to Kofri at least, because it's again a very scenic place and you can do certain activities there. If you've not seen snow in Shimla in winters, Kufri has a higher probability. From Kufri, you could also cover either Chal or Narkanda if you still want to see snow, and Kufri does not have snow. Then you could go to Narkanda, which is still at a further height. Alternatively, if you are looking for some peace, you want to get out of hustle of Shimla and touristic activities, you could go to Chal. It's more serene, more calm town. Not a lot of tourists go there because it's not glamorous yet. But the Chal Palace is a good place to go. It was the palace of King of Patiala, because once he was thrown out of Shimla for unknown reasons, and so you could go there. It's been popularized by introduction into the movie called Three Idiots, so you may want to relive some of those Ranchod Das moments at this palace for some time. If you have additional time, we would say probably spend a night there as well. Chal Palace is now a tourist hotel, so you can book luxury stays here through the tourist website, and then you can spend time royally living the life of kings. So that's more or less what your 4 day itinerary would look like. 3 or 4 day itinerary would look like, and it should give you enough time to cover most of the places of interest at your own pace. There's obviously no restrictions on number of days. If your plan is to unwind and spend time in peace and relaxation, you can obviously add a couple of more days and still have things to do. But even if you don't, you're not going to miss on. Now let's talk about the budgets, and I've kept some notes because these are numbers and I don't want to get them wrong. Now first major expense is your accommodation, obviously, so you may want to choose it carefully. We ended up spending about 24,000 for 2 nights, but that was on higher end of a hotel with kind of luxury and everything on the mall road. But you can obviously do in much lesser. We'd say probably you should budget for something around 8,000 if you're looking for decent hotel for 2 nights, so basically about 4,000 per night. Another major expense that we had was the taxi that we had booked. So since we had pre-booked it, there was a commission involved, and we ended up paying 7,500. Normal rates, if you do the same package on ground, is about 6,000. So generally, on an average, you can take taxis to be about 2,000 per day, and that would cover all your detours and your tourist interests or anything. So number of days into 2,000 is what you would do. But if you want to save a bit on it, you could probably do it in 1,500 per day by using Ubers at some places and doing point to point rides, or maybe walking a bit extra. So that's on you on how you want to do that. Another expense that we had was the toy train ticket, which was for three of us about 2,000, so another 600 700 per head for toy train. There's Jhakhu ropeway, which costs about 500, so something around that would be your additional tickets as well. So let's assume about 1,000 bucks per head for all the tickets and other expenses. We spent a lot on food somehow, because since we were traveling with kid and family, we wanted to take at least one full meal every day. We generally skip lunches, so the dinner compensates for that. But we ended up spending about 6 to 8,000 on our meals and food, which was pretty high end in some respects. So you'll want to budget about 500 to 600 per person per meal, maybe depending on how you like to eat and how much do you want to sit and do a fine dining experience. Since we were on a road trip, the other major expense was gas and toll, so we spent about 6,000 overall. But it would also depend if you're taking a train or a plane, then you'll have to spend accordingly. But that's not part of Shimla, but whatever you need to travel from your home locations. Another expense was miscellaneous, which would be your tips, your snacking, and other stuff, which came out to be 5,000 for us, but it could depend from person to person, but you could ballpark take something around that. So total we ended up spending about 55,000 for the entire trip, 37,000 within Shimla, and rest of our Chandigarh excursions and coming back. You could easily do it in 25,000 is our guess. So we'd say probably for a small family of two or three, you would end up spending a 25,000 on a Shimla trip. So that's about budget. Quick reminder: if you're taking toy train, book it in advance. If you want to visit Mall Road, there's this operational governmental lift which enough capacity so you could quickly go up and down. If you want to purchase some economical woolens, then there's this Tibetan market that you can go to. It's a government building which has been given to weavers and artisans, so you can go there and purchase some stuff. Most of your meals you can have on Mall Road. There are a good number of options out there. There's negotiations everywhere, whether you're taking a taxi, taking a horse ride, or whether you're buying souvenirs or gifts. So negotiate, haggle, have fun in that process as well. But we're sure whenever you go, however you go, whatever you plan, you're going to end up having a good time in Shimla. It's a pretty beautiful place to be, pretty scenic. So hopefully we've covered most of the stuff that you would need to plan your trip. If you missed anything, feel free to ask us in comments or reach out to us on our social media channels coming up right now. We'll provide all these details in the description box as well, so do refer to it. There would be a corresponding article on our blog as well, so visit that if you want more details at a slower pace. If you've not yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe. That's definitely encouraging and allows us to make more content. Like the video because it helps us with the YouTube algorithms. We'll keep on bringing new destinations, new experiences to you. Until our next experience, stay tuned, look at our other videos, and provide us whatever feedback that you have to. Criticism, praise, everything helps us going forward. So, looking to hear everything from you. But until we have more destinations, it's sayonara, bye bye, take care, have fun, and see you again.
Please like and subscribe our video. Bye.